Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Nick here. So I am, at home, isolated as we are supposed to be. And what better way to pass the time than doing some Minecraft? So I've been playing around with Minecraft more, Java Edition, running my own server called the Amazing Server, not surprisingly. So I can log in and I've got a world here, and you notice I got a little welcome message when I logged in. Hello, Prime Minister 37, that's me, nice to see you. I can do things in here. So for example, let's say that it is the middle of the night and I want the lights to come on. Well, I can do my time set command for the server, but I can actually send a chat message. I can just say, let there be light, and that will turn the lights on for me. If I want to know where I am, I can say, where am I, question mark, and it will tell me what my coordinates are through a chat message response. So I've basically tied in through the back end of the server a way to intercept chat messages and respond to them in certain ways so I can get information from my environment and so on. I also have some commands like, for example, house is a command I made. Sorry, it's a save. These are all chat messages, right? So I can say house, and I can put in width, length, and height. And if I say house 456, it builds me a little 4x5x6 structure, right? Which is hollow inside, and which we could use, as foundation for building stuff. So this is all, stuff that you can do in the server. In the server, you can say fill and specify coordinates and material that you want to fill with. You can say teleport to go somewhere and so on. But what I've done is I've exposed those server capabilities through the chat system. And so, for example, I made some structures up here. So let's go up to the top of our house here. And, maybe this is a location I want to come to frequently. So what I can do is I can send a message which says save my current position, and I can just give a name to this. I'm just going to call it top, and it'll say save location as top. Okay, so now I can, go somewhere else in my world. Let's go over here by some lava, because lava is always nice. Alright, and I'm hanging out here, and I'm like, whoa, there's lava. I wish I was on top of that big cube over there. So I can send a message which says go to top, and bang, back on the top, right, where I saved that. So I have the ability to do unlimited saves of locations and then get back to them by saying go to. These are not new commands, okay? I have not modded the server. I'm strictly using messages, right? Say, and you can put in a message. And I have code running that basically intercepts that message and then responds to it in a particular way. And if you try to go somewhere that doesn't exist, it'll tell you there's no such location for that user. And each user has their own set of save locations. Say go to diamond, and there's this ridiculously long diamond railway that I made back to my original spawn, which is a few thousand blocks away. And this is grossly over-engineered because I don't need this many redstone torches, but doing this with just /fill commands from here, I had the option of filling a large region with redstone torches. I did not have an easy option that I knew of for just filling every 12 or 15 blocks with redstone. And so this got me thinking of this idea of how can I feed commands to the server in a more systematic way. And I didn't want to do it with copy and paste. I didn't want to do it with a function command. And so I made a back end to the server that basically runs the server but intercepts chat messages and lets me do things based on that. So if I say where am I right now, it'll give me my coordinates, right? Alright, so how does this work? So over here I've got the server running, and we're just getting a simplified dialogue summary. But let's look at the code here. So this is just a good old C program. Plain old main program that basically makes an array of args to run Java with a -jar switch and an argument of server.jar. So that's how you run the Minecraft server, right? Java-jar server.jar. So I make a pair of pipes in the usual way. Well, I change to the Minecraft directory because I'm sitting one level below. Make a pair of pipes in the usual way, fork off a child. If you are the child process, I do my dupe 2s to connect the two ends of those two pipes to standard in and standard out. I close the unused ends, and then I do an exec v to basically run this Java command. Okay, and now this child is running the Minecraft server, but it gets standard in from the one end of the pipe, and it gets sends standard out to the other end of a different pipe. Okay, the parent process, closes the ends it's not going to use, makes another fork. So I have two things on the parent side. One reads from standard into the server, the other reads from the server to standard out. Okay, this is the one reading from standard into the server. So while the server is running, I can still interact with it from the keyboard. So for example, I can say things like, reload or whatever. Okay, and I still have control over it from the keyboard. But the original parent process is basically reading from the server, and instead of just displaying it to standard out, it runs it through a function called process. And process basically, well, it does stuff. Okay, so this is a parser. What does a parser do? The parser basically takes the messages coming from the server and breaks them into pieces. So most of these messages start with a time inside angle brackets, followed by what the message is coming from, usually like server/info or something like that, and then the actual message itself. It breaks it into a few known types, sets some flags, and so on. We don't need to worry about the details of that. Here's the process function itself. So it basically takes a message coming from the server, along with the two ends of the pipe that it needs to communicate to and from the server, and runs it through the parse system. If it's not a message that we care about, we just kick out of here immediately. Otherwise, I will echo it out to standard out, which is what we're seeing here. Okay, so these are the pre-processed messages. And so now it starts looking to for what it should do. So for example, if the message was something like, user joined the game, I form a welcome message, and I send that out to the server by saying, hello user, nice to meet you. And I write that out to the server. If the user typed a message that said, let there be light, then I make a message which says time set 600, and I send that to the server, and that turns the lights on. If the user made a message which said, where am I, then I call this function called getCoordinates to find the XYZ coordinates of the user, and then I say, send a message through the chat system since you asked, this user, by name is close to, and I give out the integer XYZ coordinates. The house function, if they say house followed by 3 numbers, I get the user's coordinates, turn them into integers, and then I use a fill command. So fill, and I put in the corners of the house, starting a little ways away from the current location. I'm using polished granite and making a hollow box, and I write that out to the server. To save locations, if the user sends a message which says save something, get the user's coordinates, open up my save file for appending, go down to the bottom of it and basically write out the username, the name of the location that they've chosen, and then the XYZ coordinates. And then I put in a message to the user by chatting and saying save the location as, and what their name was. And if you say go to, I basically go down to, go through the file looking for something that matches the username and the location name, and I don't clean up the file. So I want the last one that matches. So I keep going through, and anytime I match those two fields, I'll save the XYZ coordinates and record that we got a hit. If we get to the end and we never found the username and location name, we print out a message saying location wasn't found. Otherwise, we teleport the user to those XYZ locations. Very straightforward. So this is a nice driver for the server, And basically we have the capability at any point to send commands to the server by basically making a string and then just writing it out to server, or to read from the server. So the getCoordinates function, for example, we send a message to the server, which is a data instruction saying get entity username position, and then basically just read from the from server file descriptor, parse it out, and to get the message piece of that, and then that should have the form user has the following entity data, bracket, and then 3 numbers, with D's after them. And if that's the way the message was structured, now we know the XYZ coordinates of the user, and we just return those as the function value. So, so this code is very general purpose, right? It's a way to basically intercept messages from the server, including in particular when somebody says something by saying, say. We can pick up these chat messages, we can parse them out, and then we can, respond to those, give information, or do whatever it is that we want to do. So that's kind of cool. And, anybody who's running the server has access to these things. They don't need to, be connected to the server over here where they can type commands in and so on and so forth. Anybody who's playing the game on the server can just send a message, and if they know what the right message is, they can tap into these features. So this was just, kind of an example of writing code and using fork and dupe2 and that kind of stuff, but also kind of a fun way to get into some more interesting building. All right, well, that's all I got for now. Hope everybody's doing well. Talk to you later. Bye.